I think what you'll ask me to say and talk about initially was what I'm passionate about. And it's a bit of a long list, actually. I've I've always been really passionate about helping people. That's probably why I've been, let me just get rid of that. That's probably why I've been a social worker, a probation officer, and I've worked in kind of quite a few charities as well, because that was sort of my motivation. But I also I'm quite passionate about writing, and I really like writing. So I've written a young adult novel called Throwing Salt at the Devil, about two young girls who kind of run away. It's not published yet, I say yet. And I'm also really passionate about history. I like walking in churches, looking at sundials and medieval graffiti and things like that. But I particularly like social history. And I'm planning on writing another book, actually, about women footballers in the First World War, and specifically about a woman called Lily Parr, which you've probably never, ever heard of her. But she should be as famous as Pele. She was an absolute trailblazer. Female munition workers in the First World War used to play in their lunchtime, which led to lots of clubs being developed while all the soldiers were at the First World War. And they used to get absolutely massive crowds of kind of 10,000. I think the record was 53,000. And at this stage, I was going to show you a really cool picture of Lily Parr and her team. But as I'm not on my own computer, I think that might just be technically a step too far. So she was, as I say, a real trailblazer, and she had a fantastic right foot. She actually once broke a man's arm when she took a penalty. She was also really hard drinking, and she used to smoke a lot, and they used to play her in woodbines, which I thought quite hilarious. But more importantly, she challenged lots of stereotypes and was kind of openly in a relationship with a woman, and is a bit of an LGBT icon. And when football was banned in 1921 because it was seen as unladylike, she really fought against it. And the reason I'm interested in that is because I think the story needs to be told to hopefully kind of inspire young girls. I'm the mother of two daughters, and when they were growing up, their role models were princesses who need rescuing. So I think there's a space for more kind of interesting women that have been kind of airbrushed out of history. I'm also passionate about helping people with a cancer diagnosis. I had breast cancer about 3 years ago, and obviously it was completely terrifying. I couldn't read any of the letters or the literature. But my best friend who's a nurse, she gave me the best piece of advice ever, and that was to stay on the bus. And what she meant by that was, you're in the NHS system, just do what they tell you, stay on the bus and you'll get where you need to be. And it became sort of my mantra. It got me through kind of quite a few kind of difficult times. So what I did was I thought I need to share that message of stay on the bus with everybody else who's, suffering from cancer. So I created a virtual lollipop lady, and I was going to show you a picture at this stage, but as I say, I'm not on my computer, so I can't. So it was lockdown, so I had to improvise. So I made a great big pink hat out of a beach ball, and I borrowed a luminous top off my friend who used to work at the food bank, and created a stop and go pizza box and my daughter's drumstick. And I basically post all these kind of ridiculous videos about cancer. And I've made the video I was going to show you, which is a bit of a shame, is especially with chemo and things like that, people are really frightened of it. So I did it as a dinosaur, how chemo turned you into a dinosaur, and then all the different side effects like watery eyes. I've got like a crocodile with eyes coming up, with heavy metal music playing in the background. And I've shared it with a couple of consultants and nurses and things, and they've said it, it's really, they really like it. So I've written a guide, and I'm also writing a book. And the whole idea behind it is that people are too scared, like me, will kind of want to watch the videos and want to pick the book up, and it won't be a frightening journey. So that's something I'm passionate about, and I'm hoping Lollipop Stay on the Bus again, will be a mantra for everybody else as well. So they're my sort of interests and passions. And what I'm also passionate about is helping people in business to work with their best clients. And I think Jill touched on it, didn't you? Those that are, a real joy to work with, because life is too short to work with nightmare clients. People who don't pay you, people who complain, people who don't share your values. And I'm sure whatever industry you're in, you've got clients that you don't want to pick the phone up to when the phone rings. We've all got them. I've got them. I'm sure you do too. So what I want to talk about really is how to connect with your ideal clients. And the best way to connect with your ideal client is to connect emotionally. So why? Well, neuroscience says that we've evolved to survive, not thrive. So what's good for us kind of 10,000 years ago is pretty irrelevant now, but it does have consequences. It means that we're motivated by what they call loss aversion. And what I mean by that is the impact of losing a pound is 2 times that of finding a pound. So we're more motivated by fear, with fear of loss rather than gain. So to connect emotionally, you need to understand what it is that your clients are scared of, what they're fearful of, and understand what fears your service is destroying. So how to get rich or stay out of the poorhouse, the latter one is obviously a lot more powerful. It means that on a business front, you need to understand how it affects, the dreams and fears of your clients. So, for example, I work with accountants, and we produced what we call a lead magnet to help us connect on LinkedIn with our ideal clients. And rather than call it how to get rich or better fees from better clients, we called it how to avoid the low fee maintenance client trap. So you'll see, and I'm sure you've seen if you look at Facebook or anything, that there's lots of books and coaches out there that talk about really getting people to be scared, how to kick the bruised knee or twist the knife. And so that people go, oh, well, that's me. I really need to do something about it. But for me, I think you need to be invested in your clients and you need to think about their success. So you need to do more than just scare somebody. You need to move from motivation to inspiration and transformation. So you're obviously motivated by loss, then you're inspired to take action, and then you take action, change, and there's a transformation. And this is, if you think about the sort of business you're in or what you work in, this is true across the whole of life. So just have a think about that for a minute. But you need to not just scare people, you need to motivate them, inspire them, and transform them. So let me give you an example of a woman I used to work with in probation. Now, I was a probation officer a few years ago, and I was allocated a woman that, quite frankly, if you saw her, you would cross the street. She was about 6'5", covered in tattoos, had millions of previous convictions, and was, pretty aggressive when I initially met her. Now, with someone like that, you can't just say, stop offending, it's really bad. And that's a lot of what the criminal justice system does. It's kind of punitive punishment. But I believe that you should try and kind of inspire people so that there's a transformation. So when I met this woman, it was quite difficult to start with, but I had to find the kind of pain through kind of quite skilled questioning. You have to kind of delve quite deep. So you have to ask her questions like, what's going to happen if you keep offending? And she'd say, I'll wind up in jail. So what's going to happen to your children? Well, they might end up in care. So what's that going to do to them? Well, it's not going to be very good. And what's that going to do to your relationship? So little by little, she kind of saw offending as, something that was a problem. But it's no good scaring somebody and just saying, your kids are going to take into care. A lot of offenders will say things like, well, I've always offended, all my family do it, it's peer pressure, all that sort of stuff. I'm never going to change because that's who I am. And I got loads of that off her as well. So what we did was when you supervise an offender, you get what's called previous convictions or pre-cons. And sometimes they're like a book. There are pages and pages of them. There's like 20 offences on each page, you know, and you go through it like this. So what we did was she kind of slammed it on the, she lifted it up and said, you know, I'm never going to change, look at that. So what we did is we got every single sheet of all her previous convictions and laid them on the floor and carpeted the whole of the probation office, got a big highlighter pen and said to her, you know what, you didn't offend from December to June, so let's highlight that. You didn't offend from, I don't know, July to September, let's highlight that. We went through the whole of the room and did that. And then I asked her, you know, what was different about your life when you didn't offend? And she'd say things like, you know, I was in a relationship, I was happy, I had a job. And it was at that stage when I had them all lined out on the floor, I noticed that there weren't any previous convictions for what we call twocking or DD, which is taking without consent or driving whilst disqualified. So they're kind of par offences. And normally with offenders, what they do is they start off with loads of kind of DDs and then escalate up to more serious offences. And I said to her, well, you know, how come you've just come in at really serious offences? Why haven't you got any of this previous stuff? And she said, well, I just love my car. Look at my car. It's in the car park. And I was on the kind of third floor and I looked down into the car park and there was her car. I said, well, you know, how come you're parked there? I'm not even allowed to park there. I had to kind of park my car from a mile away and walk. And, you know, we had a laugh and I said, you know, I won't breach you this time, but, you know, don't park there again. But she said, you know, she really loved driving. Her car was her life and she wouldn't jeopardise it at all. She'd never do anything to affect her driving because she just loved driving so much. So what we did is we had a pot of money that we used to be able to kind of dip into. And I managed to get her some funding for forklift truck driving training. And she went down and she did a forklift truck driving training. And the instructor rang me up and he said, you know what? She was brilliant. She was absolutely fantastic. She was the only woman on the course and she was absolutely brilliant. So I kind of wrote down everything he said. And the next time she came in, I said, you know what? You were fantastic on that course. The instructor even rang me up and this is what he said. You know, and you could see her kind of, you know, getting bigger and she was already pretty large, kind of 6'5". And the next time I saw her, she'd only gone and got herself a job on the docks as a forklift truck driver. And when I went around her house, she had the certificate on the wall and she really kind of changed her life around. And that's what I mean about asking the right questions, uncovering what it is that's going to motivate someone. And then you'll see them being motivated and that transformation happening. So it's the same in business. It doesn't matter if you're a coach or if you're selling something. You can't just identify pain and run. You know, lots of people do. I believe that you should really have a vested interest in your client's success. As I say, it's motivation, inspiration, transformation. And this is where there's a real synergy with Collaboration Global. It's not about fear. It's not about scarcity, but a new paradigm. I think I pronounced that right. And it's about abundance. So with Collaboration Global, it's all about love, connection, and abundance. Everybody wants you to succeed. So how do you actually inspire people? Well, let me tell you, it's not through talking about you. Let me give you an example of accountants. If you go on any accountant's website, bar maybe one or two, they'll say things like, we've been established since, 1865. So what? They'll tell you that they're friendly and professional. And, I hope you are friendly and professional if I'm going to pay you however much it is a month. They'll tell you that they've got high technical skills. Well, you know what? You're an accountant and you're adding up sums. So I would very well hope that you did have high technical skills and that you get it right. And you're proactive. You know, you'll see that word banded around all over the place, and it absolutely means nothing if you don't demonstrate it. So, how you inspire people is with the power of stories. So you inspire your perfect client by showing them the changes that you've made to people's lives just like them. So ask your clients what's important to them. Again, it's about the importance of questioning. You need to really, really listen to what they're saying. Find out how the work that you've done has changed not just their bank balances, for example, but their lives. And you need to delve really deep. You know, what has it meant to you? What has it meant to your family? It's much more than just getting a Ferrari on the drive. Asking the right questions will also build a rapport. You make it about them, not you. So, for example, we've just done some work where the clients have said that the accountant has really helped them with being a kind of shoulder to cry on, or they really care, or it's kind of quite lonely at the top, and it's difficult to make decisions, and the accountant's gone in there and really helped them. And through asking the right sort of questions, you'll discover what's special about the services you do and what your ideal clients value. So what you need to do is show, don't tell. So if you were writing a book, you wouldn't say Dave was really, really angry. You demonstrate how they were angry through the kind of dialogue, facial expressions, that sort of thing. So what you can do is get your clients to do, sort of the heavy lifting, if you like. Get them to tell you how they've changed you. Get them to tell you how you have changed their lives. It might be that you've sorted out their finances so they can employ someone, which is great, but you need to go further than that. What does that mean? Well, it means that I can get home on time to read my child a story in bed at night where I couldn't before. It's that emotional connection that you need to capture. And you can include stories in kind of testimonials by asking the right questions. But also, it's about using the right language of your ideal clients. So a lot of electricians or builders or things like that, they say that they want to get off the tools because they want to work in their business. They want to work on their business, not in their business. And when they're working on the tools, they can't get anything else done. So use their language, not some kind of, language that you think you like. And you could include stories on your website, in any sort of kind of communication that you use, basically. And the best way to demonstrate your value, as I say, is to connect emotionally. Show them what they can achieve, really motivate them and help them transform. If you want to dive a bit deeper and look at your ideal clients and how you've connected, I did put together a little kind of exercise with a few questions. I don't know if you got that, Linda. I was going to ask you to pop it in the chat for me, but I can go through it. So basically, if you want to work out who your best clients are, because they're the ones you want to work with, not nightmare clients, sit down, maybe grade your clients, go through them all, lay them on a table. Think of your best clients and the best piece of work that you've done. What made you proud? A piece of work that's absolutely made you proud. What pain did that client have? How did you help them solve it? What transformation happened as a result of it? And how did it make you feel? And more importantly, how did it make them feel? Now, it actually sounds very easy, but a lot of people don't think to do that with their clients. Somebody, when people say, "Oh, who's your ideal client?" Anyone with a checkbook. Well, it's not that. It's the people that share your values. It's the people that really appreciate you, the people that you enjoy talking to, and that you do the best work for. So if you do this exercise, you will identify who your best clients are. You will find out what they really, really value about you. And you can then go and interview them or capture the difference that you've made and use it in all your kind of communication and marketing. That's your genius. That's your special power. And people will pay a premium for it. If you don't, you're just going to look like everybody else. And if you don't demonstrate your value, if you don't connect emotionally, what are people going to choose you on? Well, they're pretty much going to choose you on price. And at the end of the day, the lowest price is probably going to win. So, sorry, excuse me, just to sum up, I think that whatever industry or line of work you're in, helping people should absolutely be at the core of anything that you do. And the best way to do that is all about asking the right questions and really think about those questions. They're not a tick box. You know, you need to reflect back, check understanding, do Socratic questions, which is delving really deep into what they answer and questioning them again. And also connect emotionally. Those that, you know, really enjoy working with you, why is that? What do they value about you? Why do you make a difference to them? So basically, if you want to have a chat at any stage about how you connect to your ideal client, you can contact me on andrea@perfectclient.co.uk, and I'm more than happy to have a chat with you if you think it would help. I also wanted to say that if anybody has a cancer diagnosis or a family member who's struggling or who wants to speak to someone outside of their kind of initial family, a stranger, or someone who's non-medical, I'm more than happy, if you think it would help, to have a chat with them or send them the guide or whatever. And if you want to find out more about Lollipop, which I'm really upset I couldn't show you, I've got my own Facebook page, my own Instagram, and YouTube channel. And I've also just been experimenting with TikTok, which is a kind of social media craze, although my daughter tells me it's only for teens and I'm embarrassing her. So, you know, my work is done. But that's me. Thank you for having me. I do apologise for all the kind of technical issues, and I'm sorry I couldn't show you any pictures or videos, but I hope that helps. Thank you very much.
No worries. Thank you very much, Andrea. Brilliant. Little round of applause and a little bit of jazz hands. Thank you so much. That was beautiful. I mean, having spoken to you a lot about this, I mean, understanding who your perfect client is that you're currently working with then helps you to move forward, to go and search more of the same, and you understand them. So asking those right questions and understanding the value that you give to them is just, on the one hand, it's like obvious, and on the other hand, it's like, oh, but I'm not doing it, and it's like, So thank you for that. It's really, really useful. So anyone that would want to have a one-to-one with you from our members, then I think that's a really good idea. If you can find out any of your links, if you want to put them in the chat so people can find out about Lollipop in their own time, that would be really good.
Unfortunately, I'm not on my own computer and I'm too frightened to touch anything in case I...
Okay.
Yeah, so sorry for the bumpy start.
No, thank you. We got there in the end. And you know what? We are nothing if not resourceful in this community, because last month it was me having kittens with all the problems with tech. Bless it. I think it doesn't like us getting ahead. So you beat the game. Well done. Well done.